Sideways through time. Everyone was talking about time travel. It had become the subject of heated debates among scientists, philosophers, and even the general public. The concept seemed simple enough in theory, but the barriers to its realization were colossal. We were talking about bending the very fabric of time, something that, for all our technological advancements, still seemed like an impossible dream. I was a junior scientist at the university, working late into the night at the research labs, where I was grappling with the complex equations that governed the laws of physics. Time, as we understood it, was linear, this continuous progression from the past through the present and into the future. Every calculation I made seemed to bring me closer to a dead end. I couldn't break through the barrier that separated us from time travel. The equations just didn't add up. My name is Daniel Camps, and my obsession with time travel was slowly becoming an obsession with failure. I couldn't shake the thought that there was something I was missing. I felt like I was looking at the problem through the wrong lens, and I couldn't figure out what that lens was. Then, one evening, in a flash of inspiration, it hit me. What if I was thinking about it all wrong? What if time wasn't linear after all? We humans were stuck in a bubble of time. We could stretch that bubble in two directions, backwards, as far as we could remember, and forwards, as far as our imagination could take us. Time was a straight line, an arrow, in one direction or the other. But what if there was another way to think about it? What if we could move sideways through time? Sideways. The thought sent a ripple of excitement through me. I rushed to my whiteboard and started sketching out the idea. Time travel was always imagined as a leap into the past or future, but could we explore the present from multiple perspectives at once? What if the key wasn't just moving through time, but experiencing it in multiple states simultaneously? I couldn't let go of this idea. If we could see the present from every angle, in every possible form, then maybe we could choose the future we wanted. We could step out of the linear constraints of time and begin to pick and choose the possibilities, even preventing disasters before they happened. Wars, pandemics, economic collapses, all could be altered if we had the right tools to navigate through time sideways. But how could we achieve this? I thought back to the research we had done on the fascinating creature, the mantis shrimp. This small but extraordinary animal has the ability to see the world in a way that no human could ever comprehend. Mantis shrimp have 14 types of color receptors compared to the 3 that humans have. They can perceive ultraviolet light, polarized light, and even some forms of infrared. They see the world in a kaleidoscope of dimensions that no human eye could even imagine. The mantis shrimp experienced reality in multiple states at once. Its perception was like a living snapshot of the present, constantly shifting between all possible realities. Could we somehow mimic this ability? I was convinced that the key to sideways time travel lay in this creature's unique vision. I knew I needed a team, people who could help me bring this crazy idea to life. So, I assembled a small group of brilliant minds from the university's research facility. Laura Higgins, a neurobiologist with an uncanny understanding of the brain's ability to process multiple streams of information. Tommy Craig, an expert in artificial intelligence. Jack Jackson, a physicist whose work focused on quantum mechanics. And James Carter, a biochemist with a particular interest in genetic manipulation. We spent hours in the lab, poring over the data, refining the idea, and trying to figure out how to replicate the mantis shrimp's perception. The concept was as bizarre as it was revolutionary. We need to find a way to experience the present in multiple realities at once, I explained to the team. If we can understand and tap into the potential of seeing multiple versions of the present, we'll be able to influence the future, direct it, even. Tommy looked skeptical. But Daniel, how do we even start this process? I mean, you're asking us to simulate multiple states of existence simultaneously. We don't even know how to compute that yet, let alone create the experience of it in a human mind. That's where the mantis shrimp comes in, I replied, my eyes alight with excitement. We need to reverse engineer the way they process their environment. If we can replicate their ability to perceive so many variables at once, then we can teach our brains to experience all possible realities. With that ability, we can step sideways through time. Jack, who had been quietly listening, suddenly spoke up. But we're not talking about the physicality of time here, are we? We're talking about perception, about opening up the mind to see possibilities. If we can expand our awareness like that, then yes, we could start influencing outcomes, seeing them before they happen. That was the breakthrough moment. It wasn't just about moving through time, it was about seeing time. Not as a static line, but as a fluid network of possibilities. And by mimicking the mantis shrimp's extraordinary visual system, we could theoretically train human minds to perceive all these potential realities simultaneously. We started the painstaking work of translating the mantis shrimp's genetic makeup into a blueprint for a new kind of artificial intelligence. This AI would function as a bridge between the natural world and human consciousness. It would help us unlock a state of hyper-awareness, allowing us to see all possible outcomes of a single moment in time. Months passed, and the work was grueling. We had our setbacks, of course, trying to sync the AI with human neural pathways, attempting to create the illusion of multiple present states. Everything we tried seemed to fail at first. But with every failure came a new insight, a fresh perspective on the problem. The pieces of the puzzle began to fit together. Finally, the moment arrived. We had created a small neural implant designed to work with the AI system, and we were ready to test it. The first test subject was me. I volunteered, knowing the risks, but driven by the same obsession that had consumed me for so long. I sat in the chair, hooked up to the machine, and the team initiated the process. At first, everything seemed normal. Then, it was as if I was seeing the world around me in layers. No, not layers. Different versions of reality. I could see multiple timelines, each branching from the present moment. The choices I had made, the choices I hadn't made, all coexisted, all real. I could feel the future stretching out before me, not as one inevitable path, but as a sprawling network of interconnected events. This wasn't just time travel, it was time mastery. I wasn't jumping through time, I was stepping sideways, seeing the myriad paths I could take. And as I looked, I understood how it all worked. I could see how wars might be avoided, how economies could be stabilized, how pandemics could be prevented. I wasn't bound by the constraints of the past or the future. I was free to move through time in every direction, sideways, backward, forward, all at once. The machine powered down, and I opened my eyes. The world was as it had been, but I knew that it would never be the same again. We had unlocked a new dimension of time, a sideways journey that held the key to reshaping the future and even influencing the past. We had done it. We had cracked the code. Now, it was time to show the world what we had discovered. Time, as we knew it, would never be the same. The initial results were beyond our wildest dreams. It wasn't just a breakthrough in science, it was a global phenomenon. Governments, corporations, and organizations across the world clamored to implement our system. The AI, which we dubbed Chronocyte, became the cornerstone of a new era in human history. As we began to use it, something remarkable began to unfold. We started by showing humanity the vast array of possible futures, helping them understand the impact of their actions. Chronocyte revealed the many realities that were shaped by every choice, every action. With this new understanding, we began to see a collective shift. The awareness of the consequences of our actions, the potential to change everything, sparked a global movement. Global leaders, once divided by political ideologies and economic interests, began to see the world as a unified whole. The divisions that had once fueled wars began to fade as leaders realized that they could, in fact, guide the future toward peace. Chronocyte allowed us to witness multiple scenarios where conflicts were resolved peacefully, where resources were shared, and where cooperation, not competition, ruled. Within a year, nations started to come together. Borders, once fiercely guarded, began to dissolve as humanity worked as one. The collective consciousness empowered by Chronocyte saw how interconnected we all were, how one nation's suffering could affect the entire planet. And so humanity made the conscious choice to eradicate hunger. Global food distribution systems were revolutionized. Advances in sustainable farming, informed by seeing all potential solutions at once, allowed for unprecedented increases in food production. Diseases, which had plagued humanity for centuries, were quickly eradicated. With Chronocyte, we could predict and prevent pandemics before they spread, using precise models to halt them in their infancy. By predicting future medical breakthroughs, we were able to make them a reality faster than ever before, wiping out diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, and even cancer. And then, perhaps most profoundly, humanity turned its gaze outward, toward the stars. With the ability to see the future of space exploration laid before us, we united as a species to explore the universe. The resources once spent on warfare were redirected to the collective advancement of knowledge. We built ships that could travel to distant stars, fueled by clean, limitless energy. The Earth, once ravaged by pollution, began to heal. Chronosite revealed the potential of a planet restored, oceans clean, skies clear, forests regrown. As humanity worked together, it became clear that the only future worth living in was one where we cared for our planet and each other. The collective shift in consciousness was undeniable. The world had changed. We had stepped sideways through time, not by traveling to the past or future, but by changing our perception of the present. With that new perspective, humanity was able to shape the future they wanted. Together, we created a better world. And as the stars beckoned, we knew this was only the beginning. Time was no longer a straight line. It was a vast expanse of possibilities, and we had just begun to explore it. The future had arrived, and it was ours to shape. If you liked this story, please leave a comment, like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell for upcoming videos. Until then, let your imagination run wild. We'll get there.